Hey, good morning and welcome back to Dakota News Now. It is time for another edition of Owning Your Outdoors, and joining me always is Doug from Lewis. And Doug, we have a guest here that you want to talk about today.
We do. Invited a very good friend of mine, a very good friend of Lewis's, to discuss pollinators. This week is actually the National Pollinator Week. So very timely, and I think everybody's interested in the beauty of bees, hummingbirds, and butterflies, and want to make them part of their everyday life in their backyards right now while everybody's staying home with the COVID.
Yes.
So we're going to turn it over to Mr. Don Josko, expert in horticulture, and he's going to discuss some things you can do at home to attract pollinators and just some plants that the pollinators like.
It might surprise you that there are really three different categories of pollinators. One is, of course, bees. Honeybees are not native to America. They were brought over by the Pilgrims. Another category that we can talk about as well, of course, is obviously hummingbirds. And people are always love to see the hummingbird. And the last category may surprise you, but bats are very, very important in pollination for many crops. So first of all, we'll start out with our pollinator insect friends. What the insects are looking for, obviously, is the pollen. And the pollen are found on the anthers. And by them going from plant to plant to plant, they're carrying different pieces of pollen, and they are able to go and help cross-pollinate plants, as well as to pollinate the original so that we get seeds and future plants. When you're looking for shade types of plants, it's really hard to beat a hosta. In fact, hostas are really good, not only for the native insects, but also for hummingbirds. Now, one problem that we have is honeybees that were brought over by the Pilgrims. You know, you had to have big boxes and you had to have special outfits and everything else. But here is a very simple way in which you can make one of these at your home. You can get some open bamboo and cut them into basically 3-inch strips, and you just stuff them inside the house, and the non-honeybees that we have as natives here will come in and they will make their nests inside here, and you don't have to worry because any of those that will house here do not sting and cause children. But this is a really fun project. Another thing that you can do is every one of you get all sorts of mailings, and what you can do is take the outside layer, the heavy outside layer, and roll it up, and you can cut it into strips and tape it just with tape and cut them into 3-inch sections, and the bees will do the same thing in this, but be sure to make a little covering so that it doesn't get wet. Moving on to our hummingbirds. Hummingbirds, as you know, they really enjoy trumpeted flowers. So you have Nicotiana, which is nicotine plant, very similar to this. And we also have, again, the hostas. Anything that's a trumpeted plant, they're really attracted to. But I know many of you are going out and buying the different honeybird feeders, and you'll notice that the liquid is red. That's really, really important. If you just use sugar water, what you're going to find out is that the ants will enjoy it more than the hummingbirds, because the hummingbirds are attracted to the red color. Moving on to our good friends, the bats. A bat box is something that you can go online. They're very easy to build. And the only criteria that you have to have is the back wall of it has to be cut in 1/4-inch strips. So when the bats fly into it from the bottom, they have a place to attach themselves. And also, 6 inches above the opening, you will place another opening that's about a 1/2 inch wide for air circulation to get in. And these are normally placed on the north side or shady parts of the house, or you can put it on a pole. Do you realize that a bat can eat up to 8,000 mosquitoes in one night? And that's just absolutely phenomenal. Celebrate with us National Pollinator Week, and go out and work with your kids and introduce them to our 3 different categories.
Don, thank you so much. I think we learned a lot about pollinators and pollinating things today. Doug, anything to add?
No, it just it's a great week. I think pollinators are so important to everyday life. So enjoy outdoors, and thanks for being at the Lewis Gardens.
All right, that's it for today. Stick around. Fastcast coming up next.